Okay, we are live. I'm trying something new here. I've only streamed games before here on Twitch, but I had an idea to do like maybe a monthly recap of the movies I saw and liked that month, and maybe the ones I didn't like too. Just sort of go over the ones I saw. I like doing movie reviews, but it takes a lot of time, to edit those down. So I figured this would be kind of an efficient way to just get that out there. It just seems like a fun process, so it's something I'd like to do every month depending on how this goes. So, yeah, let's just get started. Alright. So, this is sort of the format I decided to do. So I have like the trailer for the movie, then I'll go into the IMDb information and talk about what I thought about the movie. And I don't really have like a script or anything, so I'm just going off the cuff. But the first one I have on here, because we literally just got back from watching this, is The Menu. So I'll play the trailer and then I'll tell you what I thought about it.
Is that gonna fit everyone?
Yeah, easily. 12 customers total.
How do they turn a profit?
$12.50 a head, that's how.
What, are we eating a Rolex?
It's one of his classics. You have to try the mouthfeel of the mignonette.
Please don't say mouthful.
Tonight will be madness.
Welcome. We'll endeavor to make your evening as pleasant as possible.
Welcome to Hawthorne.
Here we are family. We harvest, we ferment, we gel. They gel. We gel.
He's not just a chef, he's a storyteller. The game is trying to guess what the overarching theme of the entire meal is going to be. You won't know till the end.
Who are you?
I am Margot. Why do you care?
I have to know if you're with us or with them. This menu,
The pictures, they're of us.
this guest list. How did they get these? It's not good. This entire evening.
This is just theater, it's stagecraft.
We're leaving now. Has been painstakingly planned.
This is real, isn't it?
What the hell is going on?
We now offer you a 45-second head start. Okay, 45 seconds starts now. This is what you're paying for.
Get out of my way.
It's all part of the menu.
It's okay.
No, we're gonna die tonight.
Yes.
Happy birthday to you.
You told them it was my birthday?
Seemed funny about 3 hours ago.
Okay, so that was the trailer for The Menu. And going to the IMDb information, young couple travels to a remote island to eat at an exclusive restaurant where the chef has prepared a lavish menu with some shocking surprises. So the director is Mark Mylod. I don't know how to pronounce that, but if you go onto his information, I mean, this dude, he's done Succession, which is amazing on HBO if you haven't seen it, and he also directed episodes of Game of Thrones and Shameless. So all three of those are shows I love. So that's why I was really excited about this movie, and I was right to be excited. It was really good. We'll go back here. Okay, so Ralph Fiennes plays the main chef. He did really good. He's Voldemort, for those of you who don't know. But yeah, he did really well as the head chef Slowick, and Anya Taylor-Joy was Margot, the main character. And okay, so Nicholas Holt Tyler plays Margot's love interest, or like her date to this restaurant, and he did a really good job just playing like a very pretentious, sort of foodie, like hipster guy. If you don't know like Mark Mylod, his work in Succession, he's really well at like writing these characters where you hate them but you can't stop watching them. And that's pretty much every character except Anya Taylor-Joy. They're all very pretentious and dislikable characters, but you can't look away. And even Ralph Fiennes, Chef Slowick, he's sort of dislikable as well. But yeah, it was very enjoyable, very well shot, and there were some good twists in there too. And yeah, me and my wife really enjoyed it, so I would definitely give this one. It has a 7.5 out of 10 on IMDb. I would say I would give it an 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. The only thing I could think of why I didn't like it was maybe the payoff wasn't quite as good as you expected it to be, because you knew there was going to be twists. You know, it's not just going to be people eating food for an hour and a half. And the twists were good, but I don't know. I would give it an 8 out of 10. I really, really liked it. And that is the menu. And now, moving on, we have Black Adam. We just saw this one yesterday. So I will go ahead and play the trailer for that and then tell you what I thought about it.
My son sacrificed his life to save me. These powers are not a gift, but a curse. Born out of rage. So I'm not it up.
This loose cannon needs to be locked down before innocent people start getting hurt.
He's been asleep for 5,000 years.
You find us a cell that can hold him, we'll take care of the rest.
Who's on the team?
I didn't bring a passport.
We don't need passports. We're the Justice Society.
There's a war going on outside when you ain't safe from.
Black Adam.
We're here to negotiate your peaceful surrender.
Heard about at least 3 killings this afternoon.
I'm not peaceful. Nor do I surrender. Here we go. I kneel before no one.
You didn't come here to seek justice. You came to exact revenge.
Much enemy fire to catch a breath.
I never said I was a hero.
Giving you respect, I expect the same thing.
You believe you are not worthy. But fate does not make mistakes.
Fight for you. There's a war going on outside when you ain't safe from.
You have two paths. You can be the destroyer of this world. Or you can be its savior.
Okay, so that was the trailer for Black Adam. We just saw this one last night. And honestly, it has a 6.8 out of 10 on IMDb. I would say that's pretty fair. I would give it around a 6 or a 7. My main issue with this movie is the Justice Society, so Hawkman, Dr. Fate, Atom Smasher, Cyclone. The reason that the Avengers movies work, the reason that they worked so well as opposed to like Justice League before the Snyder Cut, is that you had individual movies that introduced you to these characters. So you cared about them when it came together as like an ensemble cast. But here, you've never seen these characters before. Unless you read the comics, nobody's really too excited to see them on screen. And the only actor that most people recognize is Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate. Now, the guy who plays Atom Smasher and the girl who plays Cyclone, they did really good. But you don't know the actor and you don't really know the character. So the introduction of the Justice Society just kind of distracted from the titular character, in my opinion. I would have much rather seen just the movie focus on Black Adam. And where's he based in? I'm forgetting the name of the Egyptian city he's based in. But basically the whole plot is that they're being overrun by this government entity who's like harvesting their natural resources, and they need a hero to regain power to the people. And I would have rather seen that movie, honestly, just focused on that whole dynamic. The introduction of the Justice Society just it felt distracted. It felt like they didn't have faith in their character. Like, if you're gonna name it, if you're gonna call the movie Black Adam, I know this is a movie Dwayne Johnson's been wanting to make for years. Just have it be about Black Adam. You don't need to introduce this whole other team of superheroes to get people interested. It just kind of felt like a lack of faith in the concept, and it was just kind of cluttered. Now, the director, I thought it was well shot. I liked the special effects. I know this director, he did the Jungle Cruise movie with also with Dwayne Johnson and what's her name? John Krasinski's wife. Oh, I'm forgetting her name. But from A Quiet Place, where's his filmography? Oh, they're making a Jungle Cruise 2. Look out. It's Emily Blunt. That's her name. But yeah, he directed this one just last year. So that's 2 movies in a very short span of time. But I know, yeah, Jungle Cruise wasn't very well received either. So it's interesting. They seem to have a good working relationship, though, this director and Dwayne Johnson. So we'll see where it goes in the future. They're obviously planning a Jungle Cruise sequel. And depending on how the box office ends with Black Adam. I mean, I know they already have a whole DC extended universe planned. I am wondering how James Gunn, now that he's sort of he's taking charge of the whole DC cinematic universe, I'm wondering if that's going to change the plans they already had in the works, because at the end credit scene, this is why I have spoilers in the title, they did introduce Henry Cavill's Superman facing off against Black Adam. So that sets them up for, even though you kind of expected to see Shazam, because I don't know a lot about this side of DC Comics, but I do know that Shazam is Black Adam's nemesis and vice versa. But it was really cool of them to introduce Superman. It's been a while since we've seen Henry Cavill without his weird CGI'd mustache. So the end credit scene made the movie, it probably would have been closer to a 5 out of 10 for me, but with that end credit scene and what it implies for the rest of the DC universe, I'd say that bumped it up to a 6, maybe close to a 7 for me. It was very enjoyable. But definitely, as far as superhero movies that I watched this month, it doesn't even come close to our next movie, which is Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. So I'm going to play the trailer for that, and then I will go into my review. Let's get this clutter out of the way. But yeah, Black Adam, I enjoyed it. I think it would have been better if they made it R-rated. The whole idea is that he's not like Shazam, or especially not like Batman or Superman. He doesn't have this rule of like trying not to kill or ending things with the least amount of violence as possible. Like, he's pretty brutal, but I felt like it was harder to convey that grit with a PG-13 rating. An R rating definitely would have made it more of a memorable movie. And you'd think after seeing the success of movies like Deadpool or Logan, like these producers know that R-rated superhero movies definitely have a market and they're definitely financially viable. So I'm thinking the only reason they didn't go with the R rating is because they're setting this up to tie in very closely with the upcoming projects in the DC cinematic universe. But I still would have rather seen an R-rated version that didn't pull punches quite as much as this one. Alright, going on to the trailer for Black Panther: Wakanda Forever.
Tell me how to best protect Wakanda.
Without the Black Panther, Wakanda will fall. My ancestors would often say, only the most broken people can be great leaders. My enemies call me Namor.
They came from the water. He has superhuman strength.
I need to know if Wakanda is an ally or an enemy.
You can come and find out.
Let our gracious response to this incursion be an olive branch. Further attempts on our resources will be considered an act of aggression and met with a much steeper response.
That can't be good.
He's coming. For the surface world, Vibranium. He's covered in it.
His people do not call him general or king. They called him Kukul Khan, the feather serpent god. Killing him will risk eternal war.
My mother told stories about a place like this. A protected land with people that never have to leave. That never have to change who they were. What reason do you have to reveal your secret to the world?
We know what you whisper. They have lost their protector.
Wakanda!
Let the fear of our discovery stop us from doing what is right. No more.
Okay, so that was the final trailer for Wakanda Forever, which did have spoilers, obviously. It showed that Zuri does take up the mantle of Black Panther. We'll get more into that. So, just starting with the opening, the way they handled the passing of T'Challa, because obviously actor Chadwick Boseman did pass away due to cancer that he'd actually been battling with for years, unbeknownst to his colleagues and coworkers. They handled T'Challa's death in a very similar fashion. He had been suffering from an unspecified illness, and he hadn't told anybody about it. He'd kept it to himself, and I think the way they handled that was very graceful, and I think that is directly a result of Ryan Coogler. I don't think that was, the MCU's plan for it. I think if any other director who had less of a personal relationship with Chadwick Boseman would have done this movie, they probably would have just had him get blown up or something off screen, something a little more action-packed. His death in this, I wouldn't say it's anticlimactic. If you don't know what happened to Chadwick Boseman in real life, it might be considered anticlimactic, but the fact that it goes along with his real-life death so accurately just feels like it's paying such tribute to him, and I think it was the best way they possibly could have handled that. And, okay, so Letitia Wright, she kind of got canceled for some anti-vax stuff, but I don't know, try to separate the art from the artist. She did a really good job as Zuri, not sure how to pronounce that. They call her Zuri, it's spelled with an SH. She did an excellent job. She's the new Black Panther, so she's going to be taking on the character for future MCU projects, and I think that was the best choice. I heard they were considering Winston Duke's M'Baku and Lupita Nyong'o's Nakia to take on the role, but I think that Zuri is the best option, I believe. I like M'Baku's character just on his own. I think making him Black Panther would turn the character into something he's not, and I really enjoy just his comic relief. He's not just comic relief, obviously. There's depth to his character for sure. And Tenoch Huerta, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but he plays Namor. Now, I really think they did an excellent job with Namor in this, giving him, his background is more tied into Hispanic roots and Hispanic heritage, and I think that was an awesome choice. It gives such a good aesthetic and such a good just general presentation of his character and his people. I don't know a lot about Namor in the comics, but I know that he looks like Spock, and I think this was a lot better way to handle it. And they're painting, murals of his character in Mexico, and I think it's a really cool thing. You have superheroes or characters that are Latino, but making that such a key part of his character is just very powerful. I think that's the same reason Black Panther resonates so well with the African American community is that it's not just a superhero that happens to be of a specific, of a specific ethnicity. That is the character, and that's something to get behind, and I think that's a very powerful thing, and I think it was really smart of them to use that with Namor's character. And yeah, I'm glad he did not get killed at the end, because I'm excited to see him come back. And they also had so Dominique Thorne made her appearance as Riri, who's Ironheart. So they're gonna have the Ironheart show on Disney Plus. She's gonna basically be the new Iron Man. And so far, I like what I see from the actress. I don't know a lot of her work. I don't know if she's really been in much besides this. Okay, so yeah, she's fairly new. She's got 6 credits as an actress, but some good stuff. I mean, Ironheart, which is coming out. Judas and the Black Messiah, that was good. So yeah, she did a good job. I'm excited to see more from that character. It was just really exciting to see, like, Stark-like technology back in the MCU. It's been a long time since we've seen a repulsor blast or any of that sort of thing. And I'm excited to see where they take the character in the Disney Plus show. And okay, let's talk about how it ties into the other upcoming Marvel projects. What they did with this movie that I really respect and I really think was the best choice possible, they did not have any post-credit scenes that hinted at future characters. There were no cameos to get people excited. The end credit scene just served to pay more respect to the character of T'Challa and to Chadwick Boseman's legacy as the Black Panther. And I think that was a really powerful thing that they did to show the importance of this movie. It just felt like it had purpose, a lot of purpose, and there were scenes where it just paid tribute to Chadwick Boseman in the opening credits and the end scene where there's no music. It's just like ambient noise, and you could hear a pin drop in the theater. Everybody was dead silent, and it was just a really powerful moment to share with people. And it was the reason, everybody was excited for the movie theaters to open back up when COVID did, is you get to share these moments with other people, these powerful, intimate moments that you just wouldn't get the same feeling of if it was just straight to Disney Plus at home. And I definitely would rate this higher than IMDb is. I would give it an 8 or a 9 out of 10. It was the best Marvel project I've seen since No Way Home, I think. I really liked Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, but again, this movie just felt like it had a lot of purpose, and I really enjoyed it. So that was Wakanda Forever. That was the superhero movie. Well, no, we have the holiday special. It's not really a movie, but the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special we'll get to towards the end. Okay. So that was Wakanda Forever. I really enjoyed it. Lots of purpose. Ryan Coogler did an amazing job paying tribute to the late Chadwick Boseman, and it also did the character of T'Challa a great service and passing on the Black Panther character for future MCU projects. Okay. Next up, we have Terrifier 2, a very different movie, but we watched this one last weekend. I don't know if any of you have seen the original Terrifier, but I'll just play the trailer so you can get an idea of what it's about, and then I'll talk about what I thought about it. And this is Terrifier 2.
So, did you figure out what you're dressing up as tomorrow?
He wants to dress up as a real guy who murdered 9 people last year.
Oh, you're not doing that.
It's just a costume. You think that guy's still out there? What's up with you and this clown all of a sudden? You're like obsessed. They never found his body. What if he decides to come back here? I wouldn't worry about it.
Wait a minute, aren't you that guy from the costume shop?
Sir, what are you doing?
It wasn't me.
He was covered in blood on his shirt and his hands when he got here.
I'm telling you, it was him, Alec. Right down to the little black dot on the tip of his nose.
You're really weird, you know that?
I believe him.
About what? Something really bad's gonna happen tonight.
No, I know when Jonathan's lying, okay? I could hear it in his voice. Something's wrong.
Look, we're gonna have fun. Stress-free environment.
Yep.
Speaking of surprises, kids, we have a very special guest with us today, all the way from Miles County. Please welcome Art the Clown.
Okay, so that was the trailer. Gave you any idea of this movie. It's weird, it's very violent, and it's very weird. We'll just start off with that. It was enjoyable. It's just kind of, you don't really get like just these dumb, popcorn flick horror movies anymore. They take themselves too seriously, I find, a lot of the times, and this movie definitely does not take itself very seriously. So, after being resurrected by a sinister entity, Art the Clown returns to the timid town of Miles County, where he targets a teenage girl and her younger brother on Halloween night. So, in the first Terrifier movie, he was killed at the end, but it showed him came back to life in the morgue. That movie definitely seemed a little more, not realistic, because obviously it was very over-the-top violent, but this one has a lot more supernatural elements to it, which, it was enjoyable. I didn't hate it, I just didn't really expect it. Like, I can buy, that he's an invincible clown thing, like, he can't die. Okay, there's plenty of horror characters that seem to be invincible, like Michael Myers until recently, Jason Voorhees, stuff like that. That part's easy to get behind, but then there's just a lot more supernatural elements to this. Like, at one point, the main character, Sienna, played by Lauren Lavera. Right. I want to make sure that's actually the right one. They all kind of look the same with their makeup on. Yeah. Yes. So that's Lauren Lavera. She's the main character, the one with the wings. And she gets killed by Art the Clown in the third act, but then is resurrected with like a magical enchanted sword, and it kind of delves from horror to fantasy. And it's not that it doesn't work completely. It kind of lends itself to that genre. But they didn't really explain well enough the lore to justify something so nonsensical. They sort of got close to talking about maybe where Art the Clown came from or why he's targeting them, but they never actually gave a clear, open explanation. And I feel like they probably never will. If there is a third one, it seems that it's more fun to not fully explain what it is, because, once you see how the sausage is made, it's not as interesting. So they're leaving it kind of ambiguous, but the only thing we do know is that he seems to be impossible to kill, and there is supernatural, I would say, magic in this world. So I'm excited to see if they make a third one. The violence can be a little bit much at times. Like, normally we have snacks and stuff when we watch movies. It's kind of hard to eat when you're watching these because they are very, very grotesque. And they go with practical effects, which I appreciate, but it makes it all the more, like, uneasy to watch, because practical effects just always, they gross you out more than digital blood and digital gore. Practical effects have a lot of, there's, like, tangibility to it, where it does something to you when you see it. It gives you the ick, I would say. Lots of violence, though, and it's very weird, but it was enjoyable. I'm glad we watched it. I would watch it again. It's kind of a type of movie you don't see very often. You can tell that the director was having fun with it. It's a project he's passionate about. And I'm excited to see if they continue in this universe of Art the Clown. I would give that one, I would say that's about accurate. That's about what I would rate it. That's fair. So that was Terrifier 2. Now, moving on, the last two movies I'm going to be talking about, they're both Christmas movies. So if you don't really enjoy the holidays, I would probably just not even watch this, because Christmas movies, if you don't like Christmas, you're not going to like them very much. But we'll get right into it. This is the little trailer for the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special, and then I will talk about the holiday special. Here we go.
I just saw on the calendar that right now on Earth it's almost Christmas time.
We don't have time for trivialities like Christmas.
But Peter's so sad about Gamora being gone.
If you just joined the stream, I'm reviewing all the movies that I enjoyed or didn't enjoy this month of November 2023. It's my first time doing this, so I'm kind of messing with different formats. Let me know what you guys think. Right now I have, you know, I'll play the trailer, then I'll go over the IMDb information, and then tell you what I thought about it. Let me know if you're enjoying it, or if there's something you want me to change for the December movies list. I'll let you watch the trailer though. I'll be quiet.
You're coming with us as a Christmas present. I'm Groot.
Okay, so that was the trailer. So, 41 minutes long. It's not a feature-length movie by any means, but it was definitely it wasn't a surprise. When I first saw this being announced, I thought that this was going to be the third Guardians of the Galaxy movie, that they were just going to make it a holiday-themed movie. I'm happy that it's its own separate standalone title, for sure. But I really did enjoy it. I like anything that James Gunn does. I'm very excited to see where he takes the DC cinematic universe. But I really liked it. It was very heartfelt, very enjoyable. There were 2D animated scenes that gave sort of flashbacks and dove more into the relationship between Peter and Yondu as his, you know, father figure. And I really enjoyed that. Some more backstory into that. And there was also a huge plot twist towards the end. Not really a plot twist. I didn't see it coming, but in hindsight, it's pretty obvious that Mantis is Peter's sister, which makes sense because they found her on Ego's planet, and given that he made that planet and everybody in it, it kind of was inevitable that he was related to her. So that was cool. I'm interested to see how that changes their relationship going into the third Guardians of the Galaxy movie. Yeah, Nebula did good. It was mainly Mantis and Drax who were the star. They went to Earth to get Kevin Bacon for Peter because that's his hero. If you remember from the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie, Footloose is what inspired him in his fight against, what's his name? The guy with the hammer? The Executioner, I think? Let's see. We can find out right now. Ronan the Executioner. So in his fight against him, he did a dance battle, and that was inspired by his love for Footloose, because when Peter was abducted, it was the 80s, so everything he knows about Earth is from the 80s. So it was really interesting to see Kevin Bacon play himself, and he gets a couple phone calls throughout the movie from his wife, and it's actually played by his wife in real life, which I thought was very cool. That was probably a really fun gig for Kevin Bacon to do. And yeah, it was a really enjoyable movie. It introduced Cosmo more, which is voiced by Maria Bakalova, who she was Borat's daughter in Borat's subsequent movie film. So it's cool that she's getting more work. I thought she did a great job in that. Groot is a lot bigger in this one, so maybe by the third one he'll be back to his full size, or at least close to it. He looks like he's, about 16 or 17 years old in whatever Groot years are. And yeah, it was just a nice movie to look forward to. It came out a little early, but I'll never complain about getting a movie before I should. But that and the next one, A Christmas Story Christmas, they both came out this month in November, and we don't have any patience, so we watched them already. But there's no shame in jump-starting the Christmas season, as long as it's after Halloween, I'd say. That's fair. Alright, so that was Guardians of the Galaxy, the holiday special. It wasn't really a movie, but yeah, I would give it higher than that. I'd say it was like an 8 out of 10. There was really nothing wrong with it. It was funny. It wasn't just like a run-off story. Like, it did have ways of connecting it to the other movies. There was substance there. And it was just an enjoyable, fun little holiday special. Okay, so the last movie I'm going to be talking about that I watched this month is A Christmas Story Christmas, which is the sequel that's been a long time in the making. I guess you had to wait for Ralphie to grow up, but it takes place how many years after? Let's see, this came out in 2022. The first one was 83, I think? 83, yeah. So Let me do math real quick. That's almost 40 years, right? Yeah, almost 40 years later. And I'll just play the trailer.
Oh, life moves fast. One day you're playing kick the can with kids named Flick and Schwartz.
I triple dog dare ya!
And the next thing you know, you're a certified adult.
Ralph, dear old man.
Fragile.
He was the best.
Ralphie, promise me we're gonna make this a wonderful Christmas. That would make your father so happy.
I promise. What had I done? And now it was all up to me?
I suggest you start drinking and don't stop till New Year's.
Hey, kids, who wants to go see Santa?
This is amazing! Incredible!
We will meet you right here when you're done.
Don't let him kick you in the face.
It's the happy season.
Now, in.
When it's just us decorating, it kind of feels like child labor.
Honey, it's not labor if we don't pay you.
Yeah.
Cheers.
There'll be much mistletoe.
My dad made this all look so easy.
That doesn't mean it was easy.
Most wonderful time of the year.
Schwartz, I triple dog dare ya!
Oh, I got it now.
That's brutal.
It's the most wonderful time.
Slowly, I could feel the Christmas ember beginning to glow again.
Okay, so that's A Christmas Story Christmas. Yeah. I would say the best part about this movie is that they chose to bring back all of the original characters from the 80s classic, except for his mother, Ralph's mother. The actress quit acting in 2007, so they had Julie Haggerty play her. So that was the only one that wasn't an original character. The rest, obviously, Peter Billingsley reprised his role, and he has gorgeous eyes, might I add. Look at those piercers. Absolutely gazing into my soul. I get a good picture of his eyes. Look at them things. Yeah, it's been 40 years since he was in A Christmas Story. And now he gets to come back, and it seems like, I know they did A Christmas Story 2, like back in the 90s, I think, or maybe it was the 2000s, and it had none of the original characters, and nobody liked it, nobody remembered it. I think if you're gonna do a sequel to something as classic as that, you gotta pull the new Star Wars trilogy, you gotta bring back at least one of the original cast to play on everybody's nostalgia so you can rake in that dough, because nostalgia is a powerful thing. We all just want things to be like they were when we were kids, and they never will be. But, there's some movie producers that can make some good money off of that desperate need that we have to fight time. That got a little dark, but yeah, I enjoyed it. I really did. I would say, I don't know if it would be something that I would add to my yearly watch. Like, I watch Christmas Story every holiday season, along with Christmas Vacation, Polar Express, all those. I don't know if I would sit down and watch Christmas Story and then go into A Christmas Story Christmas. I don't know. It's not really like an instant classic in that sense for me. But it is interesting to think about future generations. This is what they're going to have. Like, we grew up with just Little Ralphie, but they're always going to know that Little Ralphie turns into Old Ralphie, like it's the back-to-back combo. It's just weird. Time's a trip, man. But I really did enjoy it. I loved how they brought all the old cast back. It was really cool to see Ralphie, as a father and dealing with the loss of his own father. It was a very personal story, and I feel like a lot of people that loved the original movie in the 80s, that can resonate with them because they're similar in age to, Peter Billingsley. Once he get to that age, dealing with the loss of a parent and just growing up in general, it's hard. And I think them focusing on that story beat was really smart because it did make it feel like it had purpose instead of just like, oh, some more Christmas shenanigans again. But it definitely was partially, I would assume, a nostalgia cash grab, like they do, you know. But I definitely think they put some effort into the story, more than you might expect them to have. And I think that in turn made it a really heartfelt story. You know, you get to see Ralphie through being a kid, you know, all he wants is a BB gun and just that childlike wonder, to now he's an adult, he has kids to worry about. You know, parents, as much as you love them, they aren't going to be around forever, and you have to deal with that loss. And I think that was a very powerful way to elevate the sequel into something a little more meaningful. And I really did enjoy it. But if you, obviously, I prefaced before I started talking about this and the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special, if you don't like Christmas and you don't like the holidays, obviously, you're not going to like this. 'Cause check this out. Look at this. If you take Christmas out of A Christmas Story Christmas, it's just a story. Right? And not a very good one. So if you don't like Christmas, I would definitely skip this. But if you do like Christmas, you know, and if you like the Christmas Story, and if you have HBO Max, and if you have an hour and 38 minutes to kill, and if you have your parental guardian's consent, then I would definitely watch it, you know. I enjoyed it. It brought me back. But again, I don't think I'm adding it to my yearly Christmas movie list. But it was fun to see everybody all grown up. And I think my favorite character that they brought back besides Peter Billingsley as Ralphie is Scut. Where's Scut? Zach Ward as Scut Farkas. And he has aged well. I mean, he was... I don't know if the actor was, but the character definitely looked older than Ralphie in the original. And look at him. He looks exactly the same. Yeah, how old is he compared to Billingsley? 1970. So he's about 52? Around there, right? I think. And Billingsley was born in 71. So yeah, he's a year older. He looks good. But the way they brought back his character, and just, he had growth, you know, he was a cop. Obviously, and you first see it, and you're like, oh, of course this guy's a cop. Bullies, you know, they love that power dynamic. But he was actually like a decent cop, which was probably the biggest plot twist out of any movie I saw this month. And it was just cool to see his character growth and him not just be, you know, a stereotypical bully who just bullies into adulthood. He changed, and that was cool to see. I mean, that's probably about all I have to say about this movie. I wasn't a huge fan of Erin Hayes playing his wife, Sandy Parker. Her character was just kind of, man, like, her whole thing was that she's clumsy, and that was kind of like her whole character. She's, like, tripping and stuff, and I don't know. They could have done more with her character, I feel like. And, yeah, that was A Christmas Story Christmas. So that was the last of the movies that I saw this month, or at least the ones that I care to review. Like, I'm sure I've seen other ones, but they either weren't actually released this month, or, you know, they just weren't something that I think people would care to hear about. So that was my list of movies that I either enjoyed or didn't. I enjoyed most of those. I don't think I gave any of them a very bad score, except Black Adam was just, it was kind of mid, you know. Wasn't great. I really wanted to like it just because of how much I know The Rock. I wanted to play it. I mean, he's been training his whole life for this, getting into that superhero physique. And he seems slightly different than he did in all his other movies, because I like The Rock, but he always plays the same character. And I felt like, at least in this one, he seemed a little different. Like, he was more stoic than usual. And he just seemed a little darker. But again, if they gave it an R rating, I think it really would have elevated it into something that stood out from the rest of the recent DC movies. But other than that, that was my least favorite one, and it was only a 6. I really enjoyed Wakanda Forever. I would say The Menu The Menu and Wakanda Forever tied for my favorite movies of the month because I really, really did enjoy Black Panther 2. It was a very powerful movie. It was a great experience being in the theater with everybody during that movie. But The Menu, I love Mark Malloyd. I love his work in Succession and Shameless and Game of Thrones. And it was just a very beautifully written script. The concept was really interesting. You couldn't wait to see what happened next. And those are definitely my two favorite ones of the month. I would check those out as soon as you can. Yeah, this is something new I wanted to try. I'm not sure how it turned out. I think next time I'll probably do a little bit more prep work because this was all off the top of my head. I didn't have a document or anything to read off of. So I felt like that kind of translated. I was stumbling over my words a little bit. But let me know what you guys thought of the format. I'm not sure if I liked playing the trailer before I talked about the movie. It just seemed like a lot of me just sitting there watching the trailer. I could find shorter trailers or just play snippets of it, but I feel weird not talking during it. So maybe I will play the trailers, but just talk over it. Or maybe mute the trailers and just get into my review as the trailer's playing muted. So there's definitely some things I'll try, but I do want to do this again next month. I thought it was fun. Because there were some really good movies that came out this month, and there's going to be some good ones coming out next month. I mean, we have the new Avatar that we've been waiting for like 12 years for, 13 years for, because 2009. So that'll be really awesome. Definitely some things to look forward to next month. But that was the movies I liked in November 2023. Thought I would just share my thoughts, because we live in a society where if I don't share my opinions, do I even have opinions? If I don't document my existence, do I exist? I need to put that out there so that I know I'm a real person. I can't just watch a movie. I have to tell people what I thought about the movie. That was a little meta, but no, I just enjoy talking about movies. I normally just live stream games, so this was something new I wanted to try. Didn't last very long. We're not even an hour in, but that's all the movies I had. And again, if I had a script prepared, I might have been able to make that last longer, but I think I said everything I wanted to say. And I am going to be posting this to my YouTube, so if you want to go watch that, if you didn't get to catch the beginning or whatever, you can. If you want to subscribe to my YouTube, you can, but you don't need to. You don't need to do anything, Enjoy your night. I hope everybody's having a decent Sunday and the Sunday blues aren't getting you down too much. Yeah, back to work, and then should get some more breaks for the holidays here soon, so that'll be nice. But thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. It's the last day of the weekend, last day of Thanksgiving break. And there's a lot of things you could have done with your free time. And I really appreciate that you just spent a little bit of it sitting here and listening to my dumbass talk about movies. When there's so many people that are a lot better at it than me, you can find on the internet. But hopefully, the more I do it, the more I learn. I'm very new to streaming on Twitch. It's a little nerve-wracking. I think you could tell in the beginning. My voice was a little shaky. Just the fact that I'm live right now. I'm used to recording pre-recorded. I have no problem with that. But being live is a little scary. Especially when you don't have a script prepared. So next time I definitely want to prepare more of a script. So I'm not so off the cuff. But that was my favorite movies of November 2023. Thank you so much for watching. And I'll be back on maybe later tonight, but more likely tomorrow to stream some games. What I've been doing the last few days. Probably some Grand Theft Auto. Maybe some Counter-Strike. But thank you so much for watching. And have a good one. Peace.